Hey guys, I'm Robert. I'm here to talk to you about the Lumenata Pro from Sentey mouse, and it's pretty cool. It's a cool mouse. It's affordable, and I just want to show you how I use it in my workflow with my photography apps. So let's get to it. First of all, I'll just give you a quick overview of the mouse. Now, this mouse is actually pretty cool, and again, it's only like about 30 bucks. I don't know if I mentioned that before. $30 or less, and it has some cool buttons right here that I like to use a lot. And it has 5 different modes, which I'll show you in a second. I'm gonna go into the software that's included with the mouse. Let me minimize these windows here. So here's the software interface, and basically the way I have it set up for now, I have it set up to some keys for Lightroom and also some macros for photo mechanic. And I'm using mainly these 2 buttons, which are pretty cool. Right now, do I have it set up on a default setting, which would be red? Let me go back to the software here. So for the default settings, I usually have it set to, let me go back to red here. I just have it set to volume up and down here, right here. And then just the regular side buttons here, the 2 buttons here on the side are just for like for web surfing and stuff like that. I just use them for forward and backwards. Okay, so that's the default setting. Now, going into the button functions on mode 2, and you can see how it changed on the software. I use that one for my Lightroom work. And then I have mode 3, which I use for photo mechanics. So let me show you how that works real quick. So part of the reason that I do it this way is that sometimes I get tired of just using my keyboard combinations here. So let's say I have a whole bunch of photos. This is just a demo, so there's only a few photos here. But sometimes I have like at least 1,500 photos from a sports shoot or an event or something like that, and I need to go through them really quickly. And what's what's kind of obviously it's cool to just select them as you need to, tag them, untag them if you need to using the keyboard. But sometimes while I'm doing this, my hands get tired of just having to do this all the time, my fingers. So this comes in handy, so I can always just have my mouse to use instead for tagging. And also then it kind of has me flexible where I can just go to different windows as I see fit. Okay, so anyways, so let's say I'm right here and I just want to tag or untag that photo. I just simply press this key right here, which I set, this button that I set for T for tagging and untagging. Okay, so that's how that would work. And I can just kind of just do this instead, and then just tag and untag as needed. And I like this button because it's clicky. It's not a soft button. It's a nice clicky button. These on the side though, they're a little bit soft. It's like a softer touch to them, just so you know, so you can kind of arrange your settings however you want. Okay, so this mouse features 5 different modes. So let's go to mode 2, which I have set for my Lightroom workflow. And basically what this does for me is let me go back here. I have it, mode 2, I have it set for the top button right here, the top side button right here. I have it set to do Lightroom paste settings, okay? And basically what that does is sometimes we can actually go and, for example, pick all these photos and then color correct them within Lightroom, and then add all the attributes, develop settings to all the photos. But sometimes when you're shooting, there's different scenarios. Like for example, this shot right here was done in the step and repeat. And let's say, for example, this shot here was taken in the cocktail lounge. So these are different types of settings, okay? So and sometimes I might jump back and forth to different scenarios. And I can't really copy and paste all the attributes to all the photos because they're different situations. So what I do end up doing sometimes is, for example, let's say this photo here, I will copy all the settings after I white balanced everything. I'll hit copy. So every time I see another photo that's similar to it, all I need to do is simply hit the paste setting, which is this one here that I have programmed on my mouse. I also have this button here programmed to pick the photos. So let's say this one I want it to be a pick. I just simply click there and boom, it's a pick. Okay, so that way as I'm going back and forth here on the keyboard, I don't have to be like okay, that's a pick right here, this is gonna be a pick, and so forth. And then if I need to move around, so all I have is the freedom to just kind of do it through the mouse. And sometimes also, guys, for me anyways, even though I have a pretty fast computer, sometimes when I want to paste the setting, and I'll go over here, so I'm like, let's say I'm doing this and I want to go to that paste tab right here on Lightroom, I'll move over and I'll hit this, and sometimes there's kind of a lag, and then I have to wait for it to do what it needs to do. Then as I go on, I'll need to go in there again and paste. So I find it pretty useful. Another thing you might find it useful, obviously, is for different apps like Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel. You can create different macros and stuff like that and use them for that as well. I'm going to show you a quick overview here of the software interface. Let me just minimize all this here. And basically this is how you do it. Okay, so like I said before, you go to whichever mode you want. You can do it here, or you can do it by clicking on the desktop software here. Okay, and right now we're in mode 5. This is the default settings that came with the mouse. So if we want to create a macro, we can go here to macro management, and you can see down here I already have a whole bunch of user macros, and you can simply open up the built-in ones and leave those open. Okay, all right, but let's go to macro management. So we're going to create a macro. This here record the duration or intervals of your keystrokes, and I usually don't need that. That's helpful, I guess, if you have certain games or certain software where there's pauses in between. What I'm going to do is just uncheck that, and I'm just going to create one just for the demo here. So I'm going to do, let's say, I'm going to hit the record button, okay, and I'm just going to type, let's say, Control-Alt-C, okay, and then I'm just going to hit stop here, and I created the macro. Now I'm going to go here to an empty spot, and then I'm going to drag this window here, and it's going to go right there. So I'm going to hit Control plus V, no, C would be copy. All right, so I'm just going to name it copy for now, okay. So now I have the copy one here. Then when I go back to my button functions, let's say I'm in mode 5, which is a light blue color here, and let's say I want to modify this top button right here. So I know it's number 6. So when I go here, I'll drag the macro I created into number 6, and there it is. So now every time I go to the blue mode and I press this key, this button right here, it'll be copy. Okay, and then you can also change the 4 and 5 and the other ones as well. Now let's say you didn't want that there. You want to just go back to the default settings there. You simply go over here and just go to the default, hold this down, and then drag it over to copy, and it'll just default to the gaming button 1 as it was prior. Hey guys, I just wanted to cut in real quick on the video that I made prior. I'm just adding this little piece to it because I added some more keys or shortcut keys on the mouse for my 2 programs that I'm currently using this on right now. So for Lightroom, I'm using the side scroll buttons on the wheel here for my left and right arrow keys on the keyboard. And what that does for me is it's going to replace me having to do this, and I can just do it on the mouse just by simply doing that. Okay, I also did the same thing for the photo mechanic button function as well, so that I can also do that as well. And then one more other thing I added to my photo mechanics mode is Control plus T. So Control plus T is this side button right here, and what that does is it selects all my tagged photos, which of course I could use the keyboard shortcut Control plus T, but to me, it's kind of cool and convenient that I could just select all the tag photos by simply pressing this side button here, and there it is selected. And I could just drag this right on over to my Lightroom catalog, my library, and import all the pictures from there. So those are the additions that I have. So sometimes if I can, you know, switch back and forth when I'm doing this, or I can always just relax, and I can actually just rest my head. Okay, enough of my acting. Let's get back to the video. So that's pretty much it. This is just a quick overview to show you how I really love this mouse, and how using these buttons here and these different modes, it's like a time saver. Sometimes it doesn't work for everything. Sometimes you might have just a few photos, so you really don't need, you know, to go into these modes. But when you have a lot of photos, or you really want to get down to the grain, you know, like just kind of like when you're at the process where you're just really picking out certain photos, it really comes in handy. And it's better than, you know, going back and forth to this paste thing here, or doing the keyboard shortcut on the actual keyboard itself, when you can just do, you know, one click and boom, you're done. And I also have a tablet that I use, and it also has buttons that I can map and stuff like that. But I find that those buttons are kind of hard to push, and just the fact that this is just right here on hand, it's just easier for me to just, you know, push a button and just keep going. So anyways, that's about it. So thanks guys for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helped you or gave you some ideas on how to improve your workflow. And if you have any suggestions, just feel free to leave them in the comments below. And if you liked the video, feel free to like it. If not, don't like it. That's fine, no problem. And we'll talk again some other time. Thanks for watching.